A leap roughly 50 years backward in time to a catastrophic coal mine collapse underground offers clues to an early 2000s juvenile courtroom gone awry. Certain threads run through nearly a century of life in the Wyoming Valley, a bowl of a region in northeastern Pennsylvania marked today by scarred mountains and abandoned storefront towns. In this corner of the world, history unfolds as a cycle in overlapping parts: greed, corruption, silence, tragedy, and suffering. Economic inequality underlies all, and the cycle spins from underground coal mines to above-ground courthouses, from men and boys of the past to thousands of children and youth still suffering today. That earlier disaster, in the winter of 1959, began on a day when dozens of coal miners toiled underground at the River Slope Mine at Port Griffith, northeast of Wilkes-Barre. The mighty Susquehanna River rushed just overhead, its waters dripping and drizzling down the mine's timbered walls. A worker hung up his heavy winter coat in the morning, only to find it covered in icicles by day's end. Many knew they were close to the Earth's surface when they felt the passing rumble of the Lehigh Valley Railroad. The heavily leaking river led to premonitions among some coal miners working for the law-bending Knox Coal Company. One man told his foreman, "Something's wrong with the coal path he was chiseling overhead. He might have been carving too close to the waterway." The foreman in turn talked to his crew about escape plans and marked an exit route with chalk. Another miner had a recurring nightmare in which his bedroom ceiling collapsed on top of him and his young son as they slept. And an electrician working in the mine shared with his sister, "One of these days, we are all going to die with our boots on like rats in a trap." In late January of 1959, an unusual warming trend began to melt the frozen Susquehanna, causing icebergs as large as refrigerators to break off and rush downstream. The river's crest rose 20 feet in 3 days. At the River Slope Mine, the Knox Coal Company was excavating coal illegally. Instead of chipping away more or less parallel to the shoreline, as mining maps and safety regulations required, Knox had followed the thick vein of dark black coal wherever it went. It led coal miners to turn at a right angle, violate the mapped stop lines drawn by engineers, and follow the coal seam out under the riverbed. The men carved, blasted, and burrowed through rock for many hundreds of feet out, inching upward and ever closer to the river bottom. In the late morning of January 22nd, 2 miners working in the upper reaches of the mine heard a shrill cracking and screeching sound emanating from the ceiling. The men summoned the assistant foreman, John Williams, who had been talking with 3 other workers blasting out rock in a deeper bed below.